How high-value women speak to men to make them miss you badly. Dark Stoic Psychology. How come men keep thinking about you even after you've left their presence? Is it your charisma, your attractiveness, or your sense of style? Yes, those things can pique his interest. But if you really want to make an impression on him, a lasting one, the key is in your voice. Let's be real. A lot of women make the mistake of thinking they have to be accessible all the time or extremely accommodating to a guy in order to impress him. For some, the hope of rapid intimacy leads them to overcompensate by disclosing too much, too fast. All too frequently, people let themselves be disappointed because of these widespread misunderstandings. What if, however, I told you there was an improved method, one that would allow you to capture his attention without sacrificing your own identity? In this video, we'll delve into the potent strategies employed by valuable women to evoke intense need in males. This isn't a game of manipulation or a show. On the contrary, they are based on what I like to term Dark Stoic Psychology, emotional intelligence, and being genuine. By teaching you how to make a man feel an overwhelming want for more, these methods will revolutionize your interactions with men. If you stick around, I'll show you the ropes so that after we're through, he'll not only miss you, but also remember you, your vibe, and the emotions you evoke in him. First, there is a mystery that is as old as it is potent. Hit subscribe and comment the number 8 to never miss out on these special secrets. I'd be so happy if you hit the like button on this video. 1. Enchant him with mysteries. Imagine you've met someone who, on paper, appears ideal. His stories are endless, and he is attentive and engaging. The catch is that you start to feel like you know him inside and out after only a couple of discussions. There's no mystery, no need to keep asking what happens when he's not there, and no need to be curious about his personality. After a while, the thrill wears off, and you go on. Turn the tables now. Envision yourself meeting a mysterious somebody whose allure is tantalizing yet mysterious. You can't help but wonder about the depths of their character. That is the strength of secrecy. Being a little elusive isn't about playing games high-value women know. It's about giving a man something to fall in love with and keep him coming back for more. What is the practical application of this? Your communication style is the first step. Do not feel compelled to tell him everything in one breath when he inquires about your life. Give him a sneak peek instead, something you've picked out just to pique his interest. If he were to inquire, "What do you do for a living?" do not give the standard account of your daily activities. Use language like, "It's a little unconventional, but I absolutely love it," instead. Where do you stand? This answer serves a dual purpose. It returns the attention to him while still casting doubt on your life in his thoughts. The question mark is a priceless gem. Because of this, he can't help but think about you. Give it some thought. Things that elude human comprehension tend to captivate people. The occurrence is rooted in the mind. Our brain desires closure whenever there is an unfinished matter. Your ability to pique interest without going overboard makes you memorable. Though words aren't the only thing that can elude a riddle, the key is to be present. In his presence, how do you present yourself? Subtle movements convey a great deal, and valuable women are aware of this. Your identity takes on more depth when you do things like grin briefly but sincerely, keep steady eye contact, or pause carefully before answering a question. Keeping your true self hidden is not the point. The aim is to prove to him that decortication isn't finished yet. All right, now we'll talk about a common phobia. I worry about coming across as cold and uncaring if I keep my identity a secret. No, when executed correctly, because it allows him to emotionally invest. Mystery strengthens intimacy. Envision a dialogue in which you say just the right number of things, but he ends up thinking about what you said and trying to figure out what you meant. The basis of attraction is mental involvement. Mastering the art of secrecy also necessitates moderation. Nowadays, it's practically expected to share too much information. We are encouraged to reveal everything about ourselves on social media. However, valuable women understand the significance of selective sharing. You can show him that not all of your details are out in the open by keeping some parts of your life private. Value is created by this scarcity. Because of this, the times you do open up to him are more precious to him. Being able to use quietly is a crucial component of mystery. While remaining silent could be awkward, it is also a highly effective means of expression. Respected women know the need of pausing for reflection after making a challenging question or remark. To illustrate, consider the following scenario. You want to know about his highlights of the past year. After he responds, he allows a brief pause. He feels compelled to elaborate during that moment, which leads the conversation to organically go deeper. Additionally, it conveys the appearance that you are paying close attention to, which is attractive. Time is the last topic, so let's address it. Not saying anything isn't the only way to keep anything mysterious. Timing is also important. Eliminating the tension that causes him to miss you is as simple as being overly available, too fast to reply to texts, too ready to meet up, etc. To keep the connection alive, it's a good idea to pace your interactions and leave him wondering when he may expect to hear from you again. How, then, can you begin putting this into practice right now? Start by posing the following questions to yourself. Am I opening out too quickly in conversations? Is there enough time for him to think and react if I keep talking? Do I allow him to miss me, or am I constantly there for him? You could change the situation if you answered no to any of these questions. Avoid being deceitful. That is not what a mystery is. Giving him room to figure out your identity and what sets you apart is key. After you get the hang of this, you'll see something cool. Being apart from you won't be the only thing he misses. Your presence will become something he anticipates, and he will long for the moments when he may uncover more of your mystery. Are you ready to dive into the next level of connection? Explore more about the profound emotional impact that leaves an unforgettable mark in every encounter. If you want to witness the magic unfold, keep watching, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share so you don't miss any part of the journey to becoming a high-value woman. I'd be truly honored if you hit the number 1, and let's step into the next chapter together. 2. What do you believe stays in a man's mind after a conversation ends? The emotional impact makes every interaction memorable. What moved them more, the words you chose or the feelings you evoked? You are already familiar with the power of emotional impact if you have ever mentally rehashed a discussion because it made you laugh, touched your heart, or inspired you. Women of great worth truly shine in this context. They do more than speak. They make things happen. It takes more than just striking up a conversation to make a man long for your company. he needs to be led on an emotional roller coaster by you. Keep in mind that every interaction is a chance to make each other laugh, feel closer, and experience highs and lows. Good women know how to take a conversation to a deeper level, creating an unforgettable experience that he will want to experience again and again. If so, what is the process? The questions you ask are a good place to start. Clichés like, "How was your day?" are not wasted on valuable women. Rather, she delves into important subjects. Perhaps Rishi wants to know, "What have you been up to recently that's really exciting?" Or, "If tomorrow you had the chance to wake up anywhere in the globe, where would you choose and why?" Asking himself these questions makes him feel extraordinary and sparks his imagination. They foster a deep and unique connection by encouraging him to reveal more of himself. Pay attention to his tone as well as his words when he responds. Use words like, "I can tell that really lights you up," to complement his excitement when he discusses a goal he's genuinely enthusiastic about. "Hearing you speak about it motivates me." That you're paying attention and not just listening is a powerful message. Such acknowledgement is highly sought after and profoundly meaningful by those receiving it. One of the most underappreciated means of evoking strong feelings is through the power of narrative. Avoid merely retelling events when telling a story. Include him in the adventure. Avoid just stating, "I went hiking last weekend," and instead provide a detailed description. "Over the weekend, I went hiking on a path that seemed to go on forever into the sky. I was taken aback by the breathtaking scenery when I crested the peak. In that instant, you felt like you were floating on air." Storytelling of this kind does more than impart knowledge. It stirs the soul. Make sure your story isn't aimless. They have the power to expose your principles, your daring nature, and even your weaknesses. Finding that sweet spot is essential. Just the right amount of vulnerability to make him feel attracted to you, yet not so much that he's bored. Never forget that this is all related to the riddle we tackled before. Telling a tale isn't only about sharing your life, it's also about bringing people together. React in a way that strengthens your bond with him whenever he shares anything significant. Say something like, "That's such a vivid memory, I can almost picture it," when he recounts a story from his youth. In what ways is that event indicative of your current self? This kind of reply makes him feel heard and appreciated by getting him to open himself emotionally. An additional, frequently overlooked component of emotional effect is playfulness. Moments of playfulness and carefree energy foster attraction. Trick him into thinking something you don't want him to think by gently disputing what he says. "So, you're saying that pineapple isn't a pizza topping?" We may have reached the end of our friendship. One of the addicting effects of laughter is the emotional height it produces. A valuable woman is also skilled at complimenting others. Now, I'll tell you the secret. Give him compliments on his character as well as his looks. Comments like, "I love how you always find humor in things," or "I admire how passionate you are about your work," will hit closer to home. These remarks leave a lasting impression because they demonstrate that you value his character rather than his appearance. Never discount the significance of well-planned pauses when crafting these poignant moments. Permitting a comment or query to linger could be the most effective strategy at times. In response to his question, "What is something you've always wanted to do but haven't gotten around to doing yet?" Stop and allow him to be captivated by the stillness. With that room to himself, he can think things through, and they may share a closeness that words cannot express. Making him feel something, not impressed, should be the aim of every conversation. If you're effective, he'll begin to link those emotions with you. You'll always be remembered for your ability to bring a smile to his face, your willingness to listen, and your unique perspective on him. When you're not around, he misses you because of those emotional experiences. I would like to hear from you now. Have you ever struck up a conversation and felt instantly connected to the other person? In what ways was it unique? Leave a comment with your opinions. I'm curious to hear from you. Also, hit that like button on this video. If you find these ideas helpful, please hit the like button and comment number 6 on this video so others can see it too. By engaging with our content, you're helping the channel grow and bringing us closer to our goal of building a community of strong, supportive women who uplift each other. Keep reading, because I'm about to dive into why first impressions matter and how to create an atmosphere of desire the second you lay eyes on him. You will never again view introductions the same way after you hear this following secret. We should proceed. 3. Have you ever thought about how influential the first few moments of meeting someone is in setting the tone for desire? Whether a man remembers you or forgets you completely depends on how you appear, walk, and communicate in those first few seconds. What really matters aren't the words you choose, but rather the vibe you project and the hints you drop. A first impression isn't about being showy or attempting to impress, and high-value women know that. It's all about establishing a welcoming and intriguing vibe that stays with people long after they first meet. A strong first impression does more than attract his attention. It establishes the stage for the rest of your interaction and ensures that he will remember you long after you've parted ways. Therefore, how can one create an impression that sticks? Being confident is the first step. Being confident has a way of attracting people even before you speak a word. Entering a room with poise, a high-value woman carries herself with confidence. She appears content in her current location. She shows no signs of hurrying or fidgeting. Possessing such composure conveys a great deal. It indicates that the speaker is confident in themselves and their value. Truthfully, though, self-assurance isn't conjured. Rather, it stems from inside. When you have faith in what you have to offer, people will sense it as well. Here, we find the application of Stoic ideas. Even when faced with something new, you may project an air of composed, unwavering confidence by learning to control your emotions and finding your core. A captivating characteristic of Stoicism is not repressing one's emotions, but rather adopting a mindset of mastery and composure when faced with adversity. Attracting his emotions right away is the next stage after making him feel confident, just by being there. It's not about making him feel good in those first moments. What matters is how you make him feel, and high-value women know this. The tone of your voice is a powerful tool for this, pickle. If you want to come across as kind and authentic, try speaking with a warm, steady tone. Speaking slowly will show that you're calm and collected. Speaking quickly or very loudly could give the impression that you are anxious or impatient. Stop talking so your audience can absorb what you're saying. This casual stride exudes an irresistible sense of self-confidence. Crucial as well is body language. When you meet him, look at him in the eyes. Not too hard, but just enough to convey that you're paying attention. You can show that you're interested in what he has to say by smiling and nodding slightly as he speaks. Kindness and consideration are shown through these nuanced actions, which make you stand out. The importance of touch should also be remembered. Establishing rapport can be as easy as shaking hands firmly or lightly touching someone's arm while you're talking. Because they reach his mind and establish an air of unspoken familiarity, these subtle, purposeful movements frequently have a greater effect than words alone. However, many women make a mistake here. They look too eager to please. They believe that in order to make a good first impression, one must be showy, dramatic, or full of insightful comments. Less is more, as valuable ladies are well aware. Instead of trying to impress him with your intelligence, focus on piquing his curiosity so that he wants to know more. This is related to the influence of secrecy. What you want from a first impression is for it to be something he can't fully describe, but can't help but think about. One approach to accomplish this is to pay attention to his emotions when he is interacting. As a general rule, people gravitate toward individuals who boost their self-esteem. He will associate you with pleasant emotions when you listen with interest, ask insightful questions, and mirror his energy. If he opens about something personal, for instance, you should respond in a genuine way. What a fascinating point of view. That's an entirely new way of looking at it for me. Also, know that sometimes the best things are the ones that are left undone. Do not feel compelled to continue talking when the conversation seems to be winding down. Do your best to leave him on a positive note instead. To illustrate your point, you could express your pleasure at having spoken with the person. Maybe we can pick up where we left off another time. Doing so shows appreciation for their time and makes them look forward to their next encounter. Are you still following along with my insights? I'd love to hear your thoughts on these examples. Drop a comment with the number 9 and share your perspective. By engaging, you're not only helping the channel grow, but also contributing to building a community of strong, supportive women who inspire each other. Let's create meaningful conversations together. For a first impression to be truly memorable, it must be effortless and purposeful. Neither of them is concerned with impressing him or attempting to anticipate his tastes. They center on presenting yourself in the most genuine and assured light. Not only will you make a lasting impression, but you will also be sowing the seeds of desire when you approach first meetings with this mindset. Now, for the most exciting part. Something extraordinary will become apparent if you master this. Those initial moments will begin to play out in his thoughts. You made him feel noticed and valued with your kind smile, assured voice, and actions. It all starts with one unforgettable moment, and this is the beginning of something tremendous. Now that you've created an atmosphere of want, let's talk about how to maintain it by becoming an expert at maintaining emotional distance. Thus, the following theory will demonstrate how his heart can grow fonder in your absence. Number 4. The art of non-existence, the push-pull dynamic. Can you believe how strong our desires are for things that are out of reach? Scarcity makes value, the adage goes. According to this notion, the bedrock of what makes a person genuinely memorable is their attractiveness. Women of high worth know this on an intuitive level. Even while they are powerful when they are there, they are also aware that their absence can have a significant influence. Human connection presents this dilemma. Whenever we miss someone, it's usually because they're not there anymore. Desire blossoms in the pauses between conversations when there is no sound. One of the best methods to get a man to think about you, miss you, and want you more is to use the push-pull dynamic, which entails being emotionally available sometimes and purposefully distant at other times. I don't want to play games or toy with your emotions, but I do want to be straightforward. Building a connection that keeps things interesting and dynamic is all about the push-pull dynamic. Excessive pushing can give the impression of being domineering, while excessive pulling can make you appear disinterested. Balance is where magic happens. It all begins with your presence. Being present when you're with each other. Be very present with him. Talk to him in depth, and show him how much you care. These are the times when you can make him feel an emotional high, the kind of high he can remember long after you've parted ways. This is the tipping point, the time when you open yourself completely to him. The key, though, is to take a step back and make room after that peak. Here is the draw. You should just let him miss you instead of constantly trying to get in touch with him. As a result, he has time to think about the bond, recall your talks, and anticipate your return. What gives this its effectiveness? Because it appeals to the anticipation-based psychological mechanism. Something loses its appeal when it is constantly available. People will value your presence more when you take a step back and make yourself scarce. Stoicism, the virtue of contentment in one's own company, and the exercise of restraint, is the foundation of this philosophy. A high-value woman knows her value isn't dependent on external approval. Thus, she has no problem isolating herself sometimes. Now, let's make this happen. Picture this. You and he had just finished an incredible chat, one that was full of deep thought, hilarious banter, and obvious chemistry. Instead of texting him the next day to tell him how much fun last night was, you wait. Instead of reaching out, you let him do it. No big deal if he doesn't. His response does not lessen your value. You exude an irresistible charm thanks to your ability to stay composed and confident. This in no way implies that you act in an overtly manipulative manner. No, it has nothing to do with being cold or uncaring. Rather, it's about being self-reliant and not taking on more than you can handle. For instance, there's no need for you to respond instantly if he texts you in the evening. If you want to show that you have a rich, full life, take a few hours or perhaps a day to react. I am not being manipulative in any way. Being genuine is it. A lot of ladies worry about something when they do the push-pull dynamic, so let's talk about it now. Worst case scenario. He becomes bored with the pull phase. I'll tell you the truth, but it's a good question. He was never genuinely interested if he gets bored with you only because you're not always around. The right amount of space between you and the man will be appreciated by him if he values you, because it allows him to appreciate your company. The pull phase usually makes him more attracted to you. Mystery is further enhanced by omission. He begins to worry about you when you're not around all the time. Where have you been? Tell me who you're with. Does anything bemuse you now? Enthusiasm like this is potent. His mind will be fixed on you, and a yearning will grow within him. In terms of his emotions, it's like sowing a seed and watching it blossom in his mind. Recognizing when to re-engage is another aspect of the push-pull dynamic. Everything hinges on timing. The bond could weaken if you disengage for an extended period. However, if you come back at the perfect time, you might reignite the passion even more fiercely. After a few days of silence, you could surprise him with a well-considered message that brings up a particular point from your previous chat. Doing so demonstrates your attentiveness and personalizes your return, giving it a sense of purpose. The best part about this method is that it keeps you from letting your emotions and behaviors dictate your actions. There's no need to pursue him or try to push a connection. What you're really doing is making room for attraction to flourish organically. Dark Stoics boil down to this: using self-control and emotional equilibrium to your advantage in social situations. Also, keep in mind that the push-pull dynamic isn't limited to the first phases of a relationship. Keeping a steady mix of being there and being absent can keep relationships interesting, even over the long haul. Separation allows each of you to develop as an individual and fosters apportionment. Ask yourself, am I letting him miss me? The next time you feel the impulse to contact him, am I giving him enough space to think about our bond? While I cultivate this relationship, am I remaining loyal to myself and my interests? Adopting a push-pull dynamic demonstrates to him that you are a time and self-respecting lady, while also evoking feelings of longing in him. That is the one most important thing that sets you apart from everyone else. Now that you've got the hang of being absent, let's talk about how to re-engage with gusto and substance. Following this principle will lead you to a stronger connection that has been dormant. Like, share, and subscribe to my YouTube channel today so you don't miss out on valuable lessons, experiences, and knowledge that will help you grow and transform in the future. Every interaction from you not only supports the channel, but also takes you one step closer to becoming the best version of yourself. Let's build a future full of potential together. 5. Participating again with intelligent follow-ups and in-depth discussion. As we've seen, a man might miss you when you're not there, but the real magic happens when you are back in his life. Now is your opportunity to do more than just rekindle the flame. You can strengthen the emotional bond and make him long for your company. Reaching out is more than just sending a basic "hi" or "how are you" message. High-value women know that. Making every interaction meaningful and purposeful is the key. Returning the conversation with care demonstrates that you aren't only trying to fill the void. On the contrary, you're contributing something new, which will hopefully strengthen the connection you've started to form. This strategy appeals to his rational and emotional sides, making him think about you in a captivating and memorable way. So, what's the secret to doing this? First things first, the clock. Re-engaging too quickly, before he's had a chance to miss them, is one of the most common blunders women make. Bear in mind that the lack of anything causes a sense of anticipation. Allow him some time apart to experience that emptiness, but don't let the bond wither away completely. A window of opportunity usually opens up a few days following your previous communication. He'll have enough time to think about how much you meant to him without making him feel ignored. If you must communicate, don't fall into the trap of being too general or superficial. A valuable woman doesn't just say "hi," but rather starts a meaningful and interesting discussion. An effective strategy for this is to bring up a particular detail from your most recent conversation. Receiving your recent comment regarding the subject. It's been on my mind. What led you to reach that conclusion? It's an intriguing point you raised. I was wondering how things worked out with the event project you described. I wanted to know what became of it. You can tell that you were paying attention and enjoying the conversation's meat by re-engaging in this way. Not only that, but it reawakens the sentimental resonance of your previous exchange, making him remember how wonderful it was to converse with you. but asking questions isn't the only way to re-engage. Making an emotional connection is just as important. Tell someone something that makes them feel connected or curious. To illustrate my point, I just saw something that brought to mind what you mentioned earlier today regarding the subject. But asking questions isn't the only way to re-engage. Making an emotional connection is just as important. Tell someone something that makes them feel connected or curious. To illustrate my point, I just saw something that brought to mind what you mentioned earlier today regarding the subject. Would you like to hear about it? It made me giggle. You know, the anecdote you shared with me regarding a certain memory is still occupying my thoughts. It exemplifies his exceptional qualities so well. These kinds of remarks accomplish two goals. First, they encourage him to keep talking by making him feel noticed and appreciated. And second, they provide him with something to talk about. Storytelling is another effective method of re-engaging an audience. Make sure to tell him about everything intriguing or significant that has happened since you last spoke, so he can fully immerse himself in the story. Instead of stating, "I went to this little hidden gem of a restaurant last night," you could say, "I went to this restaurant last night. It had the coziest vibe and the most amazing food." Let me rephrase that for you. It seemed like a spot you'd love. How much do you enjoy finding hidden gems like that? Since it's not all about you, he has a chance to connect and tell you something about himself, which makes this approach interesting. Also, keep in mind the significance of communicating in a light-hearted, entertaining manner. Laughter and playful conversation can heighten feelings of connection. For example, yesterday I attempted to engage in his preferred pastime. And, well, things did not go according to plan. You would have excelled at it, I'm sure. You may make the chat more memorable and entertaining by maintaining a light-hearted and humorous tone. During re-engagement, you can quietly emphasize the things that make you a valuable woman. You need to let him see that you're living your life to the fullest. Tell him something interesting or significant that has happened to you, if he asks. This is a project that I've been very invested in. It's been somewhat demanding, but the payoff has been worth it. This kind of statement demonstrates that you aren't wasting your time waiting for him to occupy you. What you're really doing is inviting him to join a life that's already rich and rewarding, and that's quite appealing. Finally, always keep in mind the significance of maintaining emotional equilibrium. Not coming across as overly eager is just as critical as re-engaging with warmth and depth. Remaining calm and confident will make you stand out more, according to Satie's gloomy Stoic psychology. And when you re-engage with self-assurance and genuineness, he will be drawn to you again without you having to push. I have a question for you. Have you ever felt someone's genuine interest in you when they reached out to you? What emotions did it evoke in you? Leave a comment with your story. Tell me about the things that stick with you. If you find this helpful, please like and share the video with others who may also benefit from its insights. The number of women in our community who are learning to value themselves and form meaningful relationships is growing, and you can help make that happen. Next, we'll tie everything together by discussing how to keep this dynamic going, so he doesn't only miss you, but remembers you as an unforgettable person. Now, we may go on to the last part of the puzzle. Number 6, the power of absence, grasping the big picture. In relationships, absence is often misunderstood. For some, it's a bold step into the unknown, What if he forgets you? What if the connection weakens? Women of value understand it better. To them, absence doesn't mean disappearing or sowing doubt. They know it's a powerful tool. The key lies in creating space for reflection, longing, and gratitude to grow. Just like a great melody has pauses, absence is that pause. During these pauses, he begins to replay your conversations, relive past moments, and feel the void when you're not there. This makes him realize your worth and crave your presence more than ever. Absence is not a sign of weakness or abandonment, but a powerful tool to create space for reflection, longing, and gratitude. The pause in a relationship helps the other person recognize your value and feel the emptiness more acutely when you're gone. This makes them desire your presence and cherish you more. The secret lies in using absence wisely, not to avoid, but to strengthen the emotional bond. When you return, bring confidence, sincerity, and new value. That's how you become irreplaceable in someone's life. Remember, a lasting relationship is built on a balance between presence and absence, between listening and sharing.